Hi, I'm Lynn, Lynn Spraggins now. I'm 69 years old and I'm an ex-IDU, intravenous drug user. I was born in a really small rural village in Sussex. I think population about 1,000 people then. And it was an idyllic childhood. I to outside people looking in, it would be great, just me and my sister. And everything was cool till I got to like 13 and I just became really, really rebellious. I hated it. 60s had just started. I couldn't keep, I was like a gypsy. I just wanted to get to London or anywhere, Brighton, anywhere. I did. I got pregnant. I went to school and I came home and I woke up and I had conjunctivitis. I had pink eye. Really horrible. My mum made an appointment with the doctor. And as I'm going out the door to the doctor, my mum goes, "Oh, ask him why you haven't had your period." Oh, right. I didn't even think about pregnancy. I'll be honest, it hadn't even crossed my mind. That was the last thing I ever thought of. So, get to the doctor's, he gives me a prescription. And I said, "Oh, by the way, I haven't had my period." But I'd only started a year before, so, I wasn't too bothered. He went, "Is there any chance you could be pregnant?" I went, "Don't be daft, of course not." He went, "Can you just lay on this bed?" I laid on the couch, he touched me. He went, "You're 4 months pregnant." What luck. I nearly died. I was like, "I can't go home. I can't go home. My dad's going to kill me. So I made my GP had to write a letter to my mum and dad. I went home and I posted it through the letterbox and ran away. And then when I did go home, my dad gave me 24 hours to get out of the house, moved to London and, had my baby. She was adopted. Oh, it was horrible. The social services were ripping her out of my arms. I couldn't even let go of her. And she was 6 weeks. I had her for 6 weeks. So I bonded with her. And it was my 16th birthday. And she was born. My mum and dad came to hospital to visit me. My mum cried the whole time, holding Nicola. She went, "This is the first and last time I'm ever going to hold my granddaughter." And I'm lying there in the hospital bed thinking, "Oh yeah." They hadn't even told me that they were going to have her adopted. No, I thought I was going to keep her. It was really horrible because the actual day, what happened, they bring a foster couple to the mother and baby home, looking at all the babies to choose which one they're going to take. It's really horrible. It's like buying a kitten it's really horrible. And then I had to take her in a minicab from the mother and baby home to their house up in Ashford in Middlesex. It was just me and the social worker in the cab and my baby and a little carrier bag with her clothes in. They ripped her out of my... I had to forcibly undo my fingers. I couldn't let go. I was paralysed with fear. I couldn't let her go. It was really horrible. And I just screamed. I was hysterical all the way back in the cab. I got back to the mother and baby home, just got my stuff and walked out. I went back home 3 months later. I was there for a week and my dad said, "I put makeup on to go out somewhere," and he went, "You're going out whoring it again." So that was it. I just walked out and I didn't speak to them for 14 years. But when I started using, it was like someone gave me heroin. I came to London and this guy called, I can't remember his name, I better not mention it. No, Jeff, he gave me my first injection. Once I did it, it was so easy. It was like, and it just took all that emotional pain. It just, it just felt like being wrapped in cotton wool, and it was too nice. And that's how I slipped into addiction. We had private doctors, so back in 1985, when I was with Mick, we had to give our doctor in Harley Street £80 a week each. And this is 1985, this is not now. So £80 a week and then £10 a day to get it out of the chemist every day, each. So, you're talking like a few £100 a week. How we used to get that, I can't even remember. How we used to hit other doctors with different names to get speed and sell it, to get enough money to pay for it. It was like a constant. So I had 7 doctors. This is, I think, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I went into this guy's house, Canadian guy, we're all injecting. I'm sitting on the floor and I look up in a mirror and he's got a glass eye. His eye's out on the side and a syringe is sticking out of his eye socket. He's getting himself a hit straight. And I'm like, that, I tell you, it actually made me vomit. Even though I was an addict myself and I needed it, I couldn't do my own. I was like, you know, when you see it, look at a mirror, I thought, what's he doing? Oh, when I saw this syringe hanging out of his eye, everything just came up. I was so sick. But I think that was one of the worst things I've seen people actually do. I've seen people go in the groin, all over. But that was just, you say pushing the barriers, that even turned me. It was horrible. It nips into all sorts of class, cultures. Drugs, they don't discriminate. Because I came from my mum and dad were quite well off. They weren't not poor. We were regarded as middle class. Me and my sister had everything we wanted materially, but no cuddles, no I loved yous. The first onset of withdrawal, you just feel very hot, cold. You've got the onset of flu. This is just the very beginning. You're sniffly, eyes water, every sort of orifice. You feel like everything's watering and you feel like your nose is running. Then you get diarrhea, then you vomit, then the pain, it's like restless leg syndrome. You're kicking, I used to call it kicking cold turkey because your legs physically, they get spasms and you're jerking and it's like that until you get something you're like that and it just gets worse. If you can imagine flu multiplied by 20, it's just the worst feeling that you could ever possibly have. You're kind of praying for either that one little thing to make you feel better or death. And it's like, it really gets to that level of, if you don't have it, you'd rather kill yourself. Because, I've self-harmed and, overdosed because I just couldn't. It's like you're frustrated, you're constantly on the chase and it never affects you how you want it to. It's never enough. It's like, it satisfies you temporarily, and every single time you do it, it's the temporary is even less. I can tell you about the day I got married, my second wedding. On the way to our town hall to get married, husband jump in the car, we get halfway there, stop at chemist first, pick up a prescription. I didn't think anything of it, although, because we'd had something before we left home, had an injection. I was all dolled up for the wedding, get to the public toilet, jump out, he jumps out of the car, we go in together, into the ladies' loo, both of us, have an injection, heroin, a bit stoned, have a cigarette, and come out, jump in the car, drive to the wedding. When we get out of the car, all his family are there, outside the town hall, all in the refinery, and I just rolled up. It was just so surreal and hilarious. And when you're stoned, you don't kind of connect with ordinary people. And it was like just watching a movie. And both of us just fell apart laughing. His mum burst out crying. She was like not amused at all. And this is called Giles Mead. The church is called Giles Mead. And across the road there's a homeless centre called St Giles. And they help rehouse people that are addicts, alcoholics, or just people homeless, yeah. It's really, really good. Used to be able to go in there and get a shower, change of clothes, food. That I'm afraid all the cutbacks have shut it down. It was really, really sad because all the local resources that used to help sort of less fortunate people have just all closed down now, all gone. I had to leave really on health grounds, like my knee. It was 28 steps every time I had to go out and come back. Partly that, and partly to start afresh, because of my past lifestyle, there were so many memories that weren't so happy, like the addiction side. It was horrible, nasty. Too many people knew where I lived that were into drugs, and I wanted that out of my life. So it's just kind of a new start, really. You know, if you change your environment, it can give you a whole new. I think you can kind of stand back and look at the bigger picture, and it's all good. It's all good. And that's where I lived with Mick for 18 years. 18 mad, mental, happy years, though. Yeah, wow.
What year was it when you moved in?
1985. Moved in 1985, and I moved out in 2012 from here to Dulwich. So that's a long time, isn't it? It was the only thing we ever argued about, that he gave more attention to the garden and his plants than he did to me. Honestly, I used to get jealous. He'd be out there like till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be laying thinking, I've got a lovely life. He's out with the plants, talking to them, and I'm lying in the bed, bored stiff. No, I didn't mind. He was just very. He used to come down and get rescue plants that people had thrown out from along here, and within a week they'd be sprouted back to life again. Everything he looked at, everything he touched grew. Mick, my partner of 18 years, he died 18 years ago. And like 7 years after he died, about 5 or 6, 7 years after he died, I was a mess. I started using heavy and just like using extra than my script. I just generally got in a mess, and I got a key worker from the clinic, from Reader House, and she said to me, "Have you considered moving?" And I was like, it was everything at that moment in time. It was like, no, I can't be bothered. It's too much. I'll do it tomorrow. That was my attitude, you know. Put off, leave it. Anyway, she actually made me sit down, and we looked through the properties that you had to bid for them, and she found this flat, and she went, "Oh, well, put your name down." And I just didn't think anything else of it. That was a Friday afternoon. The next day, I get a text saying, "Can you come and view this flat?" I came here on the Tuesday, and I walked over the keys. I've been here nearly 7 years now, just me and my cat, and I actually like my own company now, and I've never ever been able to say that. So that's nice. It's like I have found myself. You know, I didn't really know who I was, and it's like now I'm comfortable with me, and I wish my body was a bit different. Obviously, I wish a bit healthier, but apart, you know, I can't really, considering what I've been through and put my body through, I can't complain. So I didn't think I'd see 30. Hell, I'm 69. I can't. Even I'm in shock. I never thought I'd be here. I was in hospital 2009 and nearly had my foot amputated through injecting in my feet and missing. So I got necrosis, which is like dead tissue on my foot, nearly lost my foot. And so rather than come out and still pick up needles and syringes, I phoned the clinic, asked them, stop, just give me oral methadone, which they did. It was a large dose, it was like 150 mils of methadone, which, yeah, it equalled out to roughly the same amount of heroin, but that was literally the last time I stuck a needle in myself, and that's like, 2009. I'd say methadone is oral, just a medication, drink it in the morning, go to the chemist once a week, drink it in the morning, and it's like it doesn't overtake your life. It just makes you feel well, makes you feel normal. There's no big ritual about getting the injections ready. All of that is taken away. When I was using gear, I wasn't fat. I was skinny. Well, you remember how skinny I was. As soon as I started going on the methadone and I stopped gear, I started getting like a brick shit house on use. That's the generic, and it's methadone hydrochloride underneath there. And the Nazis invented it in the Second World War because it's strong acting, it's got a long shelf life, and it's cheap. And they ran out of heroin because of the war, so they needed something for the soldiers, the injured, and this was ideal because it's long acting, it's 48-hour shelf life. So if you took some now, it'd still be working in 2 days' time. So it was ideal but it's only meant to be taken for like 3 months. I've been on it for nearly 30 years. And it gets into your bones. You can't, it's very hard to withdraw from. Once I get down to 25, then I go on to Subutex and I will be off in 3 months. I can't wait now. It's just really been like a gravestone around your neck. And I've been left with quite severe depression. I'm on antidepressants. I'm quite an up person, but when I do get down, I go really down. So like I call it duvet depression. I'm in bed. I don't want to move. I'm not speaking to anyone. You know, I'm not getting up. Oh, that's it. If it wasn't for Sparky, I'd probably be even worse. But he wakes me up at 6 o'clock every morning, my cat. And it's good for me because it makes me get up. Do you know what I mean? I would be quite easy to stay in bed till 11 o'clock every day if I had my way. But no, I get up, feed him, and then I'm up. But it's nice. I've actually got some structure to my life now, whereas before I was never sure what tomorrow was going to bring. I really come far. I did a lot of therapy, a lot of work, and it wasn't easy. Group therapy, cognitive behaviour therapy. Oh, it was hard. It was painful. It was horrible to revisit some shitty memories, but it was done. You know, it's like you have to kind of look at where you've been and deal with it before you can move forward. I was always stuck. I was like, no, don't want to look at that. But I didn't move anywhere. It was, just kept repeating stupid behaviour, and you know it's wrong, but you continue it because it's comfortable. It's what you know. But I had to completely pull myself out of it, make myself uncomfortable. You know, and I wasn't comfortable for about a year. But I was quite surprised at how quickly I adjusted, because I never thought I would. I never thought I'd be living like this. Mick came round one morning to see the guy whose flat it was, and I was introduced. And you know, there was just instant chemistry. It was like instant. We talked for about 4 hours. First time I met him, just sat together and we ignored, everyone else was there. We just focused on each other. And then 2 people turned up and I had to sit on his lap because there wasn't enough room for everyone to sit. And I was like, I just felt so normal and comfortable. And I think I must have fallen in love in about a week with your dad. With Mick, I really, really do. We were both on injectable prescription. Fortunately, neither of us have ever really had to be on street drugs. If you know, everything we had was prescribed. Although it was injectable, it was clean. So we didn't have to share needles or, things like that. He caught MRSA and E. coli, and it was sad because I think that he could have come out of this too. He was writing lyrics for songs. He loved music. I think that was the main draw. We both love music. I love writing, lyrics, and Dad Mick did. He was my soulmate. You know when you can sit in a room with someone and not speak, but you know exactly, like, it was like that. It didn't matter if we didn't speak for 2 days. I knew it was cool. And we still would have been together if he hadn't died. I know. He was my soulmate. It was like, I was married twice, and I wouldn't marry you, Mick, because if it wasn't broken, the 2 marriages before had failed as soon as I kind of got married, really. So I thought, no, we're happy. If it's not broken, don't try and change it. And it was, and he really, we had the 18 years, well, the happiest 18 years out of all my addiction years. Yeah, it was fantastic. So I'm going to put this in memory of our love for each other. And I love you. And I always will. And look at that, he's got 2 new blooms coming. Oh, love you, darling. We had a tough life together, but a happy life too. I think it was a good balance. Miss him. I miss him loads. I'm actually stuck for words. I'm actually stuck for words for once. Oh. It's really strange because I thought men were stronger than women. And, you know, and I really thought I'd die first. I really did. I always never even dreamt that he'd go before me or anyone would. Wow. It's just mad. I'm still in love with him, even though he's gone. I'm never stopped loving him. He's my little soulmate. Not so much the little. He's tall. He's a big man. My baby, rest in peace. Well, he's not there anyway, is he? he's everywhere. He's got an amazing bird's nest looking over him. Look. Do you see?
He'd like that.
You know, as I say, he's not here. It's only his ashes and where we laid him to rest.
In a cross.
Yeah, I know. He was more spiritual. He's everywhere, you know. Like I remember when I was standing right here and a butterfly landed on me. November. It was the day after bonfire night, wasn't it? November the 6th, because the crematorium wanted to bury him on the 5th. Bonfire night, and I thought, well, me might have come in with a bang, but he's not going to go out with one.